Today we're going to look at solving systems of 3 variables. So you've done solving system with 2 variables before. We're going to look at 3 today. So try this puzzle. I'll reveal the answer at the end. Let's get ready. You're going to need your notes, pencil, and calculator. These problems take up a lot of space, so make sure you have enough room in your notes. I'm going to suggest you write neatly and stay organized. Solve these slowly and carefully because it's hard to find your mistakes after. We're going to do an opener to start. Then I'm going to review with you how to solve a system 3 different ways. We will do one example of solving system with 2 variables, and we'll do 2 examples of solving system with 3 variables. And at the end, I'll give you some tips for solving systems. So here's our Halloween opener. Pause and give it a try. Did you get 310? Kind of the trick here is we have 2 haunted houses and 2 bags and a multiplication sign, and you need to make sure you're doing order of operations correctly first. This is called a Solve Me puzzle. Go ahead and try this. You have to make sure you keep each side balanced. So with the 60, I'm going to divide that in 2. So each of these has to be 30. And then these divide into 2. So all of these are 15. And then you can start anywhere that you think. I'm going to start with all of these reds. So these are going to be 3s. And then I'll carry it over here. I know that the purple trapezoids are going to be 5s. And because that's 13, the heart must be 2. We'll bring over these 2s, which gives us 6. So this is 9. So we have 9, 5, 2, and 3. Here's a recap of solving systems. Remember when you're solving by graphing that you need to graph both equations, usually put them in slope-intercept form. The answer is going to be a point, so make sure you're writing it as a coordinate point, x, y. If the lines are parallel, write no solution because they'll never intersect. If they have the same slope and the same y-intercept, they're going to be coincident lines, so you'll have many solutions. When you're solving by substitution, it's exactly what the name says. You're substituting in. So you want to solve for one variable first and plug it in, making sure to use parentheses so that you do the distributive if necessary. Make sure you don't just stop when you get x equals. You have to solve for both variables because the answer is a point. If you get a true statement, something like 3 equals 3, which is a true statement, that means you'll have many solutions because they're parallel lines. Sorry, they're coincident lines. And if you have a false statement, something like 3 equals 4, that means you have no solution, and those are going to be parallel. And our third method is solving by elimination. These should be put into standard form. If you remember that, that's ax plus by equals c. And we're going to try to eliminate one variable when we add down. You may have to multiply one or both of the equations to get them to add to 0. You're going to add down, solve for one variable, plug it back in, and find the other variable. So as a refresher, you should be able to solve this system. Go ahead and do any method. I would probably do elimination because it's already in standard form. So pause and try this. And I'll do the answer for you. So I notice that I can get these to go to 10. So I am going to multiply the first one by 5 and the second one by -2. Make sure you multiply everything all the way through a big distributive. Common mistake is to forget to go to the other side of the equal sign. So I get 10x plus 35y equals 170. And my other equation is -10x plus 8y equals 2. This is what we're trying to do, is eliminate the variable. So that adds to 0, which is good. We get 43y equals 172. Therefore, y is 4. But don't celebrate there. We need to get our other variable. So you can plug it into either equation. I'm going to plug it into the second equation. So 5x minus 4, plug in my 4, equals -1. And we continue to solve, and we get 3. You should write your answer as an ordered pair because the answer is a point. Now let's look at these 3. So we're going to try to solve these. I am going to call this equation 1, 2, and 3 so that I can refer to them. And we're going to try to do this with elimination and then a little bit of substitution. I'm only going to take 2 equations at a time, and then I'll do another 2 equations. And when you do those 2 different sets, you need to make sure you're eliminating the same variable both times. So I'm going to try to eliminate the x's. And I'm going to take equation 1, and I usually sort of make little notes to myself, and I'm going to multiply it through by -2. So I'm going to multiply everything in equation 1 by -2. Remember the other side of the equal sign. And then equation 2, I'm just going to keep the same and rewrite it. And then I add down. So I've eliminated my x's, and I have y minus 7z equals -39. That should be a negative there. And we're going to keep that equation. Now I'm going to pick 2 different equations. I'm going to go with 1 and 3, and really important is you still have to eliminate the same variable. So I have to continue to eliminate x. So I'm going to do equation 1, and I'm going to multiply it by a -3 all the way through. And I'm going to rewrite equation 3, just keep it the same. And draw my line and add down. I've eliminated my x's. Now was 7y minus 14z equals -98. So I have 2 new equations. If you notice, they both have a y and a z. So now we're going to do elimination a 3rd time with these 2 new equations. And I'm going to multiply my first one by -2. Multiply by -2 here. So I'm going to come and multiply through. That is not correct. Multiply by -2. And I'm going to keep my second equation the same. Now that I'm looking, oh yeah, that's right. And I'm going to add down. My z's are now eliminated. And I have 5y equals -20 and y equals -4. Phew, took us 3 big steps to get to y. I can't plug it back into one of my originals, so I have to plug it back into the red or the blue equation. I'm going to plug it into the red equation. And these get very messy, so that's why I tried to tell you to go slowly and neatly and organized. -4 minus 7z equals -39, so -7z equals -35, therefore z is 5. And now we can go back and plug into one of our originals. I'm going to go into the first one to now solve for x. So x minus 2, plug in my -4, plus 3 times 5 equals 22. So we get plus 8 plus 15. And x is -1. Now you always want to put that back in alphabetical order x, y, z. -1, -4, 5, and our answer is an ordered triple. I'd like you to pause and try this one on your own, and then we'll go over it together. I'm going to label my equations again. And I'm going to, again, multiply my first one by -2 everything. rewrite my number 2 equation. And add down. And then I have that equation. Now I'm going to multiply the first equation by -5 and keep the third equation the same. Notice I eliminated x's again, so I have -6y plus 14z equals 20 for my second equation. We're going to put those together, and the numbers are kind of big. I'm going to have to multiply this one by -2 and multiply this one by a -3. Add down, I'll eliminate my y's. I get -22z equals -22, so z is 1. We have one of our variables. I'm going to plug it back into my first one to solve for y. And y equals -1. I'm going to go back and plug into my very first equation to now solve for x. And x equals 2. Our ordered triple is 2, -1, and 1, x, y, z. So, more tips. Make sure you're writing neatly. Go slowly. Be careful with negative and subtraction signs. Use substitution on 2 equations to eliminate one variable. Use substitution again with 2 different equations to eliminate the same variable. It has to be the same. Keep solving until you get x, y, z, and write that as an ordered triple. And did you get 514 for the smiley face problem? Good job.